links, and then you have the folder where you should upload your files, or where you can retrieve files if you want to test importing stuff. You have create your own, for example, a company folder, and then put your files there. And then we have one folder for the project team where we have uploaded examples for sprints 1.1 and 1.2 so far.
The question, is there a link to the current specification?
Yes. So we'll get there.
Oh, okay.
Very soon. You have the planned sprint so far described here. So I mean, what we are finalizing now is sprint 1.2. But I mean, no problem. You can just join and create your stuff whenever you're ready. And in these descriptions, we have also linked the different usages that we are testing for the current sprint. And Sergey, please sort of add stuff if I forget. This is sort of shooting from the hip. Then we have this frequently asked questions file, where you have links to the latest IFC schema, which actually is in another repository, but it's linked here. So you can just click here, and you have the schema for download here. So if we just go there and open the file, we have the actual IFC schema in the most current version. And as you see, we have this hash in the end, and that is coming from the commits in the IFC specification repository. So we actually have the sort of traceability there from sort of the source code and the schema. Yeah. Let's go back. So the documentation, the online documentation you have here as well, linked. And of course, this is also the place where the sprints, when they link to usages that you should implement for each sprint, they are of course also available in the documentation. All of them, but I mean, you don't need to care about all of them at
okay, so basically once we go to the GitHub repository, everything should be traceable from there.
Yes. What was the link I was missing, Sergey? Please help me.
I think like the link was only on the video and not in a single document that summarizes these things. So somebody has to go through the video, and I was suggesting that having a document perhaps is a better way.
Yeah. The video from the first session actually also contains a walkthrough of the GitHub environment and how you should preferably fork the repository and maybe clone it, and if you need, and work with pull requests when you push your IFC files.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, Lars, there was a README and there was an introductory file that says what the project is about and so on and so on. In the yes.
Yeah. So we are. I mean, we are still in the frequently asked questions here.
Yes.
So you have the change log in the documentation, a link, and yeah, the check is failing, whereas the report is also explained. I mean, the IFC files are checked when they are pushed to the main repository according to the specification in the sprint. And
okay.
What was this? Yeah.
All right. That's
yeah. So then, of course, you can if you have questions or issues that are of sort of maybe interest for all, we suggest that you actually open issues in this repository, or if it concerns the specification in itself, it's better to then, or you should open an issue in the IFC specification repository instead, which was linked here as well. So I don't know if you wanted to add something, Sergey.
I'm not sure. I heard my name twice, but
yeah.
then no real question, and I'm not sure if you want me to add something or not.
I mean, only if I missed something important here.
Well, your entry point is pretty much the BSI infra room organization, and all of the repositories are there. I mean, I'm not sure what you mean with a document. We try to organize everything in a website. If that's document form for you, I don't know. Maybe you meant a Word document or something, but this is pretty much it. You have 6 repositories, of which 1, 2, 3 are useful because others are for other purposes. So you have IFC specification where we make the changes to the schema and generate the documentation from, and where you get the schema and so on. And then you have IfcTunnel deployment, where the deployment project is located, and you upload your files. And you have IFC documentation tunnel, for which you also have a link in the IfcTunnel deployment already, so you're pretty much just switching between IFC specification and IFC deployment, but all of the links are in IFC deployment anyway, so you don't need anything other than that.
And everything derives from this. All the documentation derives from this.
Yeah.
And project plan.
And I mean, you have the main README in the repository also gives you actually a mailing address also, which you may use. And then, of course, we have the project plan uploaded for the whole deployment project. And currently we are in this phase, which is sprint 1.2. So we have already we went through 1.1 and we are closing 1.2 now, and in 15 minutes we are entering 1.3. And here you actually see then, I mean, we are working from these usages. So and really starting from scratch, getting the IFC sort of boilerplate stuff in place first, and I mean, in sprint 2 there will be maybe a little more complicated, and some new concepts like voxels will be introduced, and then of course in sprint 3 will be sort of more the tunnel specific products. So yeah.
Yep. Good. Good. Fair enough, Lars. I think this is a very good overview, summary of the way to navigate through all this documentation. Maybe you would want now to jump into 1.2 related matters, or maybe if there are 1.1 still, there's some requests around that.
Yeah,
and leave everyone the opportunity to speak up, of course.
Yeah, just mention now. The sprints have been sort of incremental so far. So actually, sprint 2 also includes sprint 1.1 usages. So actually, if you have uploaded 1.1 files which had an error, you should sort of continue with 1.2, because if you now try to push 1.1 files, they will actually fail in the checker, because it checks both 1.1 and 1.2, so you will get errors there.
But that's okay.
So
that's okay.
That's okay, of course. I mean, we still have a couple of pull requests to go through, and but I think we have gotten a fair amount of files so far.
Should we maybe give the mic to the implementers?
Yes.
We spent 15 minutes already, so I'm a bit worried that not all the questions can come through before we start the new sprint.
Should we maybe ask Artemis whether you have any questions, since you've been posting files recently?
I actually do have a question, and it's more of a really technical issue. In the GitHub, my pull request button, the blue one, didn't appear, and we compared with Jan Erik's version where he had. So in my case, I clicked commit to the main, and then I had to do Control-R to connect to GitHub and do my pull request from there. But in Jan Erik's version, there was a pull request on GitHub for desktop. So we're wondering why it didn't appear on my side. We had.
Which tool are you using? Could you maybe share that first?
Can I share my screen here?
Probably makes sense, yes.
Okay. It was here on the GitHub, yeah. And I had the changes in the file and the summary, description, commit to main. And after that, in Jan Erik's version, there was a pull request, a blue button, like a similar pull request to GitHub. But for me, I had to do Control-R.
When you have commits. If you have commits, then it appears. If you don't have commits, it doesn't appear.
Yeah, I have
it's dynamic.
The file. Commit to the main.
Can you show me? Can you show me what you committed?
For example, if I do a change here, okay, to try something, let's put it like that. Just to test. Let's see what will happen now. Okay, update.
Okay, you got that?
Yeah, let's try. Let's say update to test and commit to main. Okay, and then we did push. Or
yeah, I have one theory here. Maybe you already have a pull request.
Okay.
Probably
I would assume.
Probably you're not even connected to the main, because I mean to the main repository. What did you select when you forked that you want to improve? What two options? Improve the main repository or just fork on your side?
Just on my side. So it might be the case.
That's sort of what the UI is set out to do. If you just commit to your fork, then it doesn't give you this option. Then you have to go, of course, and do it on that side. But if you select that you will be improving the main repository, then it suggests pull requesting from here.
Okay. Okay.
That might be the problem here. I'm not sure.
But if you already for for the main branch, if you already have opened a pull request, then if you commit and push, it will just continue sort of merging into that pull request.
That's also true. If you already have a pull request, then you don't need to open a new one. It just keeps committing to the same one.
So it's okay.
Yeah. So if you would like to have a separate pull request, then you need to create another branch and create a pull request from there.
Okay. Okay. Good to know. It made a little bit clearer what happened.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I stop sharing and somebody else can take over.
So open mic. Other questions so far?
Yes, Nori, any questions on your part?
No, not really.
Good. That's good news.
I think the pull requests where we had the most of the discussions, those vendors are not here, like Geometry Gym or Aka or what was it? Quadri. Quadri also had some questions, but those are not here today.
Okay.
Was it? I mean, if there are no more questions, you had things that you talked about in the session this morning, Sergey. It has been so much today. I don't remember exactly what it was, but
probably a lot of people here, so it would make sense. Please, one thing that I shared this morning is that we are currently also in the process of reconciliation and also testing the schema. So there's a lot of stuff going on the IFC specification repository. So please be a bit proactive there and look at the. I don't know, Lars, if you want to share where this can be found. I mean, the link is also in the tunnel deployment repository.
yeah.
Let me share then. So there's a lot of going on, as you will see. There's a lot of actions, and if you then when you're here in this actions, if you go to schema generation tunnel, you will see that a lot of actions have been triggered. Since yesterday, we got like 4 new schema generations, and of course this makes it easier for you also when we get to the stuff that we're implementing, that you have the latest and greatest schema available for you. Just go to the schema generation and download it. And in the next month, it will probably stay that way. It will be a bit more dynamic before it actually settles down. So just be sure to check first if something doesn't work.
And Artemis, you just got a message from Stefan.
Because I guess the pull request was already open, yes. Then you don't have to do it, then just commit to the same one. So, and that part is actually quite nice in GitHub.
I saw that.
Takes it over, yes. You don't have to even take care of that. You just push your commits and they will go to that pull request.
May I ask Orest whether you have had the time to investigate a bit the specifications around geopositioning as part of the sprint 1.2? Your opinion would matter to us.
Is it? I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question? Was it
I was
for me
asking
or
the question to Orest, but I don't think that. Yes, that now is not too sure whether he's hearing us anymore. Maybe not.
But Ivar or Ivar, who was writing just now, was also Esri, wasn't he? If I remember correctly.
Ivar, I'm not too sure. Let me check. But anyway, if no other questions around these two first sprints, and unless you'd like to take people through the answers that you've provided to others, Lars, unless you do so, we can jump onto sprint 1.3.
Yeah, well, I mean, essentially all discussions that have been going on, they are sort of available in the conversations around the pull requests, and actually a few discussions actually resulted in us finding sort of lacking information in the specifications, which has actually been there for quite some time. For example, in the global positioning area, for example, where you specify how the engineering coordinate system axis is related to the northing and easting, for example, where we got some file with sort of specifying a zero length vector when trying to match the x-axis of the engineering coordinate system with the easting and northing, for example, which is important information. So that will, of course, be a new where rule in the schema that is not possible, and also some specification of what are the actual default values if you don't specify those parameters at all. That was one thing that we discussed this morning, at least.
One thing Stefan wanted me to say here is the example of this pull request, where it was clearly stated that the software does not support project classification information. I think this is a very good way of communicating. Just write into the pull request. If you don't support something, we would still accept it, of course, because this is not certification. It's basically just guiding software vendors through the implementation of our concepts and the basic concepts of how to build a file so that IfcTunnel files in the end are correct. So just write, if you don't support a certain template, just write it in. We will accept it, and that's basically how I would go about in cases in the next sprint, in all of the next sprints. If the software doesn't support classification, by all means, just shouldn't keep you from participating further. Just don't do the concept.
Yep, perfect. Good. If nothing else on 1.2, then should we jump into 1.3?